Okay. Can you try to speak so that I can see if everyone can hear us?
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, everyone.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you so much.
Ambuyana sekuru kumamisha dea madzose zisati dzaziva ndine shoko kuru randinoda kuudzai neuzonchamisa wave nebato idzva iri danho rakatorwa mushure meku paonekwa kuti zita reMDC rakange rasvibiswa nemandlu monzora komichina nakupene vamwe saka kana mave kuzoenda kunovhota munofanira kucherekedza kwazvo chiso chachamisa nemasi matatu pamwe neruvara rwemabanana vhotera neuzonchamisa vhoterai pamasi matatu vhoterai neuzonchamisa vhoterai paruvara rwemabanana vhotera neuzonchamisa vhoterai pamasi matatu vhoterai neuzonchamisa vhoterai paruvara rwemabanana musanyengedzwa nebato rezanu muchipiwa mbeu nefotereza tinoda bato rinoudza mabasa kuti mugozvitengera mega zvamunoda bato rezanu rauraya nyika muzere mbavha dzinova zvikuru
Liberty Matara, we don't tolerate that kind of language here. I am deleting your comment. Watch yourself or I will block you.
nekuda kweuori hwavanoita vhotera neuzonchamisa vhoterai pamasi matatu vhoterai neuzonchamisa vhoterai paruvara rwemabanana vhotera neuzonchamisa vhoterai pamasi matatu vhoterai neuzonchamisa vhoterai paruvara rwemabanana.
Thank you so much. Mr. Washington, you can go ahead and talk about your fundraiser so that people will be abreast whilst I'll be calling the VC.
Thank you, host. Good evening, those who are in Zimbabwe, Africa, UK, and Europe. Good morning. I think going to afternoon to those who are in the West, in the Americas, that side, and I think it's morning for those early morning, those who are in Australia. Thank you for coming this evening or this day, ladies and gentlemen. While we are waiting for our Honorable Sikhala to come on board, as you well know, that we are now in the hype of the elections. Sorry, I was driving, so my sat nav is starting to complain. I'm packed though. As you well aware that we are now in the hype of the by-elections, the blitz voter registration. It is the time for challenge for the opposition, for the Triple C, and I say it is a time for the challenge. Why? Our party needs to be resourced, and the only people that can resource our party is you and me. So before I go on to talk about specific things that we need to do, can I just ask each and every person who is on this space to just try and retweet this space so that people can get to see that the space is on, and they'll be able to join us. If we are not following one another, ladies and gentlemen, again, they say your network is your net worth. So let's check and try and make sure we're following each other. Whatever I tweet tomorrow, you then be able to see it. Whatever I'm running, you also be able to see it as well. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now, going into the challenges that we currently have, I think it's good to go into specifics for us to be able to monitor the voters registration, for us to be able to be effective in coordinating what is happening. We are going to need resources. We are going to need fuel. We are going to need airtime for people who are going to be coordinating and sending information to our information areas. So my plea to you this evening is the same plea that I have been doing day in, all the time that we do these spaces. We've got our fundraiser. The link, we'll pin the link on the top there. Can we support CC, ladies and gentlemen, please? Let's support CC. There are a number of things that we can do in supporting CC. We're looking for resources. And the resources that we are looking for is what we are earning here in the diaspora. We're looking for fuel. We're looking for airtime. So I would really urge each and every person who's on this call tonight to say, there is my $10, there is my $20, there is my $100. What we are trying to achieve at the end of the day is we want to get our country back. We want to get Zimbabwe back from the ones that are running our country. We are all not happy with what is going on, and it's you and me that can change this. But while we are away from home, I think there are a few things that we can do. Apart from fundraising, is to make sure our voices are heard. We have to say it as it is. There is nothing that we have to fear because the truth is out there in the open. I thank you. I also want to recognize some of our leadership who are on this call tonight. Some of the journalists that are here tonight, my brother Simba, I can see you are here. Greetings to you. Yeah, we'll be looking forward to hearing from you in a bit. Just want to thank you in advance for all the work that you are doing for your country. It's really appreciated. I think the challenge then goes to all of us to say, what are we doing? So back to you, host.
Thank you so much for that. And it's quite good that we find channels to fundraise and fund our movement. And I can say that since our guest is not yet here, we can start the conversation and start talking whilst we are trying to reach him. It seems like he has been delayed somewhere, so we can actually go ahead and start speaking. And I would like to recognize everyone who is here, and I will ask our journalist, Mr. Simba Chikanza, if you would be kind enough to take the mic and come and try to talk to the people for a bit. I'm sure that they would like also to greet you since you have graced our space. I've invited you to speak. If you're at liberty, you can come. I also recognize Leader Netsai is here, Leader Patricia, and everyone else. If I missed your name, it's not deliberate. It's because I can't see everyone. So that's what I can say. So you can request the mic and we can start the discussion whilst we are waiting. Leader Netsai, you can request the mic and come and speak to us a bit. Yes. Welcome, Mr. Chikanza. Can you hear us?
Yeah, thank you very much, Leader. I can hear you. I was not intending to speak, but you've just pulled me by the rug. I
Yes.
just come here to hear the Honorable Sikhala speaking, but unfortunately, as I can see, he's not yet here.
Yes, definitely. He's not yet here, and we are all waiting for him. And we'll keep trying to get in touch. I think he was stuck somewhere. So I'll call him again. Meanwhile, my brother, the topic of the day is the future of the Yellow Revolution from the fourth state's point of view. What do you think is the future of the Yellow Revolution?
Well, thank you very much. Myself, from my port, I see the Yellow Revolution, its future being government. But at the same time, I believe in government now. You know, while a lot of people are focusing on government tomorrow, government in 2023, I would like to say from my port here in the newsroom that the Yellow Revolution will only make sense when it starts talking about government now, when it starts living government now, when it transforms itself from a mere political revolution to become one that is literally operating as government. My main interest in the Yellow Revolution, as you all know, is in the truth, because I see the assault against the Yellow Revolution to be an assault against the truth. It is an assault against journalism. And I have constantly said in recent discussions that the crackdowns that we have seen since 1982 have been crackdowns not against political parties. I know there is a prevailing theme that says Gukura Hundi, for instance, was a crackdown against a tribe. And they say it was a crackdown against a political party because it was the opposition. And the other crackdowns that we have seen lately against the Yellow Revolution in its formative years, I see all these crackdowns to be an attack against the truth. They're merely an attack against the truth. They're an attack against journalists. The real primary targets of state repression are journalists. Isusu ndisu ti takanangwa. Pavanoenda vachinouraya munhu ari kwaMutare, kumamishoko, kumaprazi, or down there in Gwanda, the primary target there is the journalist. It's the journalist who is being targeted because they want us to publish what is not. They want us to publish what they are doctoring through all this, the message that they are projecting. So that is my interest there. And I think people can attest to how vicious I have tended to become over the years in fighting repression. It is under that very same scope of thinking that we are the primary targets. It's not even you politicians. Isusu ndisu takanangwa. So I would also like to take us back to just last year, 2021, the different things that happened last year, which I many times call my sports akasiana siana agaputika last year. And I would like to touch on the Zambia transition, where we saw the political party led by HH eventually making it. It is under that same motivation that, look, if Edgar Lungu manages to continue his reign over Zambia, we are the primary targets. We are going to be in trouble. It is us journalists, even though I'm not Zambian, but I'm the one who is being targeted here. And so that is why you saw my participation there in a country that I've never been, that I may never even visit. So I see the yellow revolution being government, but not government tomorrow, government now. And I'd like to say in conclusion, seeing that the honorable MP is here, one of my inspirations in the country here, the yellow revolution must become government now. And I see in the yellow revolution, and I'm hoping that the rest of the party, I don't know if I can call it a party. I'm not sure how you folks have titled yourselves. Yeah, you will copy from people like Job Sikhala, people who are just weird. They will just pop out from nowhere. They don't seek approval. They just take it. They are ready even to be labeled names. And I also cite Makomborero Harizuvishe is one such young man, just pops out, doesn't even consult anyone, just because there is something that is wrong. I myself, as an individual, I've got to do something. I've got to fight fake news. I've got to fight what is false. And that is why, folks, you see, right now I'm in the United Kingdom. I'm fighting British police over their attempt to generate fake news on behalf of Emerson Mnangagwa to our detriment. I'm going to be closing now, and I'll leave to you, Chair.
Thank you so much, our dear brother and journalist, Simbachikanza. Can you remain on the podium so that if you are listening, you can actually listen from here as well, in case our VC has got a network problem or something, we can continue with the discussion from where you left. Welcome, our honorable VP, Job Sikhala. Can you unmute VC so that the people can hear you? We just want to see if you can hear us.
Yeah, thank you very much for the invitation to this program. My apologies that I've not been able to join it earlier. We have been involved in a very serious development that was taking place in my constituency up to this hour, where we were trying to bury one of our members, where ZANU-PF came and hijacked the funeral and asked all of us, the thousands of our members, we had gone there to mourn one of our provincial executive members to move away. So I'm just arriving at home now after some very nasty incidents where we had to end up not being able to bury one of us after ZANU-PF has hijacked our funeral today.
So sad to hear that. So sad to hear that. May the soul of our departed comrade rest in peace. Since your network is still very stable, VC, you can go ahead and speak on the topic of the day, the future of the yellow revolution. But before you do that, let's just have a moment of silence for our departed comrade who couldn't be buried because of ZANU PF shenanigans. Thank you so much. Go ahead, Honorable Sikhala, and
Yeah,
speak on the topic of the day.
no, thank you very much, moderator. The future of the yellow revolution, I think you have heard it from the day of our launch, when our president, Advocate Nelson Chamisa, had to announce to the world how we are going to start the new, where we are going to build a new culture among our people, how we are going to bring a new politics that is competitive in terms of ideas and the vision for the future, where we say that the past must not dictate and stop us from determining the future of our country. The new that we are talking about in the yellow revolution is that the past has been so much congested with the politics of negativity, the politics of hate, the politics where the dominance of old ideas stagnated the growth of our country. We are now talking about the politics for the future and not the politics of the past. So the new that we have brought to the people of Zimbabwe became a shock and a surprise to many of our political rivals who did not expect ourselves to be able to re-engineer the new trajectory and the new energy towards the goals of achieving a free society in our country. Our politics is divorced from the politics where citizens were not taking the center stage in decision making, where decisions have been imposed upon our people without them uh, taking a central role for the determination of how they want their future to be shaped. The yellow revolution has now brought the citizen back to the center, where all decisions will be centered around the input of the citizens on how they want the country to be run, on who should be their leader, on how the national decisions are going to be taken. The decision where budgets are going to be made being forced from the top. But what we need is for the people to tell us on how the national fiscus should be distributed for the national development, on how the implementation of the devolution among the citizens of our country, giving the ability of our people to have the center stage in decision making to each and every issues that will determine their future. So this is a new politics where citizens or the people are going to be the center of decision making in as far as determining the future of our country is concerned. This is one very important and fundamental issue where the yellow revolution is going to take the nation forward. No longer will decisions be forced from the top to bottom, but decisions are now coming from bottom to top, where centrally people are going to play a major role. And this is a new trajectory which is not used to be understood by our people. Our people who always knew leaders dictating to them what should be the decision for them to take. It's no longer the leadership imposing decisions to the people, but it's now the people who are making decisions on behalf of the way how the country should be run. So specifically, these are very important issues that the Yellow Revolution is concentrating on. And we're also expecting that the diaspora, population of our country, we have been playing a very major role in as far as a fiscal remittance to our nation is concerned. More than 2 billion is being remitted to the nation yearly by our people in the diaspora. And for us to ignore that they should not be central in as far as making decisions on how our country should move forward would really be the most oppressive nature of running our nation. It's now where every citizen of our country should be given the right to make decisions on how our country should move forward. So specifically and in short, these are very important issues that we would share today onwards, and that that should be the foundation of our debate today. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Sikhala there. Our brother Simbachi Kanza said that he believes that CCC should be government today and not wait for 2023 as everyone else is expecting. What's your comment on that?
The truth of the matter is that everybody knows that in 2018, our CCC president, presidential candidate, defeated ZANU-PF hands on. And on that basis, the foundation of the current government's legitimacy in our country remains a question to all citizens, that the current government is illegitimate. It did not drive its authority from the people, as they were clearly defeated at the recent elections. For 2023, I would not say much, as you understand that I have been in trouble several times after having even said it publicly, that Zimbabweans cannot afford to have ZANU-PF until 2023 on the basis of their, cluelessness on how to run our nation. And you knew that I was charged of treason. I was accused of treasonous act, where I had to go to court. So in that manner, as I'm still facing other matters before the courts, I will leave it to that one. But totally every citizen of this country agrees with the sentiments expressed by Simbachi Kanza, that we have been carrying a baggage of a government that has failed to give direction on the development of our country. The government that has clearly demonstrated that they are corrupt, they are not working for the interests of the people. It's a looting club where we have seen many of them concentrating more on primitive accumulation of wealth at the expense of the majority of our people, where we have seen that since the inception of the current regime, there is no any single job that has been created. The so-called road infrastructural development, with the so much talk about, is hollow and false, on the basis that only small patches of roads are being made and trying to be projected as if it's a massive national development of road infrastructure in our country. That is absolutely false. The truth of the matter is that this regime has failed to deliver anything since their inception to power. What they have only been able to do is for them to loot and loot and loot all the resources that are currently available in our country. We know how much these people have been stealing brazenly on an open day, on a daily basis, and we know how much has been put on offshore accounts by these people who are claiming it's just a few clique of less than 1,000 Zimbabweans who are eating on behalf of more than 17 million projected population of the people of Zimbabwe. The majority of our people are suffering. There is no development that we have seen has taken place since Emerson Mnangagwa and his regime took over this country. So we are suffering. We have got no anything that is developed for the past 3 years since Emerson Mnangagwa has been in power. It's purely a loss, they lost 3 years, where Zimbabweans still are growing more and more poorer than what they were, even during the period of Robert Mugabe. So the people of Zimbabwe are suffering more and worse. And for us to accept that Emerson Mnangagwa will be able to pull through Zimbabweans up to 2023 is hallucinatory and illusionary. This is a group of clueless looters whose belief is on a primitive accumulation of wealth in looting whatever little the country is having, where a few are amassing amazing wealth, which is incomparable to any other people who are chief executives of international corporations. And that is the situation which we are living under. We are living under one of the most oppressive systems, the intensification of dictatorship, attempt to suffocate the opposition, the growth of gross human rights abuses, abduction and persecution of the opponents of the regime, something that has only been witnessed during the period of people like Polypote, where we have witnessed this kind of how to run the country during the period of people like Mobutu Sese Seko, where we are only witnessing this current kind of politics from people like Yoweri Museveni. Zimbabwe is now tend to become the worst dictatorship in the history of mankind. This regime has made sure that they will control their looting spree via the abuse and the suffocation of any democratic space in our country. We opposition are not allowed to campaign. You have seen what has happened to our president advocate Nelson Chamisa when he had a program for him to go on the countryside to meet the citizens of our country, to hear their concerns, and also for him to hear what are the problems our people are facing. We saw ZANU-PF trying to stop him from meeting the citizens of our country. We have also seen our meetings and rallies being thwarted by ZANU-PF. Even today, they stopped us to go and bury one of our own members in Chiweshi, threatening that if we will go there, they are going to mobilize support unit, they are going to mobilize the police and ZANU-PF thugs in Mashura and Central to come and attack us. So they said our presence is not needed there. If we will go there, they will come and attack us. We are now living in a country of civilization that is not commensurate with 21st century politics. This is now the country of Zimbabwe. All of us are now living under. And it is now up to us, the citizens, for us to say, enough is enough. Until when will we accept ourselves to accept the biblical preaching of Jesus Christ, where if you are beaten on one cheek, you must give the other cheek? This is what has been happening in our country. It's no longer affordable politics. There are moments when the people will say enough is enough. And we are approaching that period where I'm telling you that now the people of our country are agitated. They are no longer able to accept themselves to be continuously abused by the current regime. And in that light, I totally and absolutely support the views of Simbachi Kanza that the people of Zimbabwe have suffered enough. 2023, although it is a constitutional scheduled timetable for elections in our country, but our country is not able to reach that time on the basis of the suffering and the way how our country has totally collapsed because of the misrule of the ZANU-PF regime and how people are suffering, and it's no longer tenable. This is what I can say to your question that you have asked, Comrade Moderator. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. One last question before we start having questions from the audience. There has been this concern that we saw you during the launch in Marondera of the by-elections campaign for Caston Mateu, whose father is here in attendance. And yet, after the launch, the voter registration blitz came, and it seems as if from the messages that we are seeing on social media, including from our renowned journalist Hope Chingono, that many people, not so many people, are going to register to vote. Is it because of intimidation that they are told don't go to vote? Is it just because they don't want to go? Is it only because they don't have IDs? Or what is preventing the people from being motivated to go and register to vote? Why aren't we seeing many queues of people besides the one at Batanai School where 39 youths went and found a broken machine? How come we are not seeing that everywhere where there are queues of people registering to vote?
No, it's very simple. There is a multifarious of factors that is affecting the voter registration, please. But the main reason is that ZANU-PF systematically tried to marginalize our people from participating in the politics of their country by denying them identity registration cards. All the people who have turned 18 years for the past 3 or so years, some are now 21, 22, they do not have IDs. The Registrar General's office is saying that they do not have the instruments and the facilities for them to make IDs. They are only giving a total of about 20 people per each Registrar General office to have IDs. So the people of Zimbabwe have not been given an opportunity for them to have IDs. Why it is different from the biometric registration that took place in 2018 is that during that time, when the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission were doing the voter registration process, the Registrar General's office was also in tow for them to give people instantly where the voter registration exercise was taking place, instant giving people IDs. Now it's no longer like that. People are asked to bring the IDs which they don't have. The majority of people who are not currently registered voters are those people who were not able to, who turned 18 in 2018, but were not eligible for them to be voters in 2018 because they reached the 18 after the voter registration exercise is already elapsed. And those who became 18 years since 2018 up to present, who constitutes hundreds and who are constituting millions and millions of people. If you calculate the number of school leavers who left school in 2018, who left school in 2019, who left school in 2020, and who also left school in 2021. This every year, if you would go and check our statistics, is that people who complete their secondary education annually are around 300,000 people. So if you multiply them by 4 or 5 years, they go as far as 2 million. But these people do not have IDs. The majority of these people do not have IDs. Neither do they have passports because the same government is not able to produce passports. Those who are only able to register are now going via taking driver's licenses. So because the metallic driver's license are allowed to be used as voter registration identification card, but still the metallic driver's licenses are not also available to the people of Zimbabwe. So this is one major challenge. Secondly, is ZANU-PF's attempt to make sure that those few with IDs are not given an opportunity to register via intimidation and also putting the registration centers far away from those who who should register. If you realize on the blitz, which the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission has announced, the majority of the registration centers have been put in rural areas. And in urban areas, they just put some token places for people to go and register. And this has been very deliberate. And the things that they are demanding in urban areas, like the proof of residence, the majority of these people do not have houses. They live in urban areas. They need to go and approach the landlords, as the majority of them are tenants, to be given an affidavit or a proof of residence by the landlord. General landlords, are disinterested to facilitate their tenants to go and get registered, because they would thinking that you are a temporary occupant of his or her own place of residence. So it complicates again, where these people are not able to obtain, proof of residence from their landlords. So these are very serious challenges which our people are facing. And in short, I think these are some of the few reasons why I'm telling you why we are meeting the challenge of having as many people as possible to register. But the main challenge is that we must have a serious campaign against the government's attempt to disenfranchise our people from exercising their right to vote by denying them access to identity cards. We must push our people to be able to obtain their ID numbers. And as long as we are not able to get the identity documents for our people, it remains very difficult for us to have a bumper registration of voters. It is typically a rigging mechanism that which ZANU-PF has put in place, disenfranchise as many people as possible who have turned 18 from 2018 up to present, because in their own projection, these people will not fall on the side of ZANU-PF supporters. So it's a huge challenge. We must all have a national campaign to make sure that our people obtain registration identity documents.
Thank you so much. I would have asked many questions, but we have got a lot of guests who are here. So before I go to our guests, I see that co-host Washington, you are unmuted. Would you like to say something in under a minute?
Thank you very much. Thank you, Honorable. It's always a pleasure to have you on a space, speaking to you, hearing what is happening. Normally, when we have our spaces like this, we also do our fundraising, and our fundraising is in line to try and facilitate our party, basically, to be able to enable the party to do things like helping people to go and vote, fuel, airtime, you name it. So this evening, morning, this afternoon, I'm now talking to everyone from all parts of the world. Could you do me a favor, please? If we could retweet, just retweet the message which is here, and say the Honorable is speaking, so that people knows and can also join those who are not aware. Those who are here already, we have put a link that we are asking for your donation right at the top of our space for you to do your donations. I've donated my $50 already. As you go on the donation, you've got a link where if you are able to use PayPal, you can go straight in and use a PayPal. There's at the same link right at the bottom, there's a link which says a card. So on that particular one, you can use a credit card or debit card. And I really ask that you help us facilitate our party with the resources. I probably might ask our honorable to probably just give people a highlight of the challenges that we have with resources, which could get people to understand why we are doing what we are doing.
No, everyone in Zimbabwe knows that ZANU-PF's first strategy, which they used to make sure that they inoculate us from challenging, the status quo, was through depriving us of what legitimately belonged to us via the votes we obtained in 2018. The Political Parties Finance Act proscribes that a political party that has participated in an election and obtained more than 5% of the national votes is entitled to the funding via the national treasury, where a political party will be allocated some amount of money commensurate to the number of votes or the percentage retained of votes which the political party obtained in an election. In 2018, we have been the second largest political organization represented in parliament. They usurped our mandate from the people, gave that mandate to Douglas Monjora and his outfit, where the political party was now deprived of its funding and transferred it to Douglas Monjora. Brazen broad daylight robbery against the will of the people of Zimbabwe. The sovereign of our people is overthrown after ZANU-PF made sure that we are starved and suffocated of any financial assistance via the legitimate means where the number of votes we obtained in 2018 is going to be counted for the amount which we must be allocated via the national treasury. This left our party in total financial crisis, where we have not been able to conduct our day-to-day business. We turned into having our meetings under the trees because they took almost everything, including the party headquarters and party offices throughout the country. It left the party limping. But we had a major resources that we always said to ourselves, we believe because the people are on our side. This is the major resource that we have. We will remain standing tall and firm towards the revolution of the people and make sure that we will not disappoint or betray the people's dream of a new Zimbabwe. We will push and fight, even no matter that we don't have a coin, but our spirit is driven via our commitment for us to get a new Zimbabwe. And also we believe that those people who have been standing on our side will come to chip in and make sure that they assist us in as far as meeting the obligations to fight for the right of our citizens is going to be delivered. There is no doubt that the will of our people cannot be underestimated. They've been standing with us for a long time. You have been standing with us for a long period. And it is now the time for you to come on board and say, brethren, you have weathered every trial and tribulation that has been thrown your way. We will stand with you until we have obtained a free and fair and a free and fair society for every citizen of our country. This is where you come in. We are now just a new outfit, a political party that has no another source of income except its own people. Our people needs massive t-shirts throughout the country. Some people will come and suggest that we must sell t-shirts so that we are going to use it as a fundraising strategy for the party. Although the idea is very brilliant, but here comes ZANU-PF having 5 million t-shirts donated for free by the Chinese, having the regalia donated free by ZANU-PF, bringing them and throw them even in the streets for anybody who want to wear it. That's why you realize that you will see many people wearing ZANU-PF regalia in the streets, but these people will not be ZANU-PF supporters. They will even tell you that we are using them as pajamas, and others are just saying, because we don't have clothes and we don't have money, that's why we are putting upon them. We are not able to match ZANU-PF in as far as, providing the need of our masses require. So we need also to give our people t-shirts. We need also the budget to make sure that, for us to make sure that rigging is not going to be another excuse in 2023. Each and every polling station must have not less than 6 polling agents who will protect the people's vote. We might vote all of us, but as long as we are not going to be able to have polling agents at each and every polling station throughout the country, we are going to repeat the same history. These polling agents need to be fed. We don't want them to ask for food from ZANU-PF. Polling agents will be there because ZANU-PF abuses national resources. They simply just take a chunk from the national fiscus and sponsor their political activities. Our polling agents needs to be well funded for them to be able to defend our vote. They must not be starving polling agents who will not get even a meal on the day of voting and at the period of counting. We don't want to compromise again our victory in 2023. This can only be able to be obtained via our members who will come generously and donate towards the liberation of their country. We need posters, flyers, information dissemination, a lot of equipment. We need computers for us to be able to give tabulation of our membership per each and every branch, per each and every constituency or a district in this country. We need the tabulation of our total national membership so that we'll be able to account for each and every vote that we are going to obtain. So all this can only be able to happen if we have got enough, resource power for us to meet ZANU-PF man for man, head to head, toe to toe. Without that, we risk ourselves being, robbed of our victory at every turn. So we are pleading to all of you, ladies and gentlemen, who have come to this program today, to understand the nature of the challenges that we are facing. We are here on the forefront fighting to make sure that Zimbabwe becomes a free and happy society for all of us. We are also pleading to all of you to come on board and assist us, to give us an opportunity to have a fighting chance against the dictatorship, like what I earlier alluded. That is more than any dictatorship that has been witnessed in the whole world. I thank you.
Thank you so much, VC, for that passionate appeal. If please find it in your heart, we are more than 200 right now. A t-shirt costs between $5 and $7, meaning that if you find it in your heart whilst you are here, we can actually all go and donate $10. We can buy 2 t-shirts for 2 people, so that we don't have to wait for them to pick the ZANU-PF regalia in the streets, as what VC has said. 500 posters actually cost $100. So if you actually find it in your heart to give us to donate to the party $100, that might cover 500 posters right there, and it will be very, very helpful. If they are flyers, they even cost less if they are since they are smaller. So any amount that you have, even a dollar, when we are 200 and we put a dollar each, it will actually come up to $200, and we'll be able to buy 1,000 flyers with that. So after the passionate appeal, there is a link which is pinned in this Twitter space. Just go and do anything that you can, so that we can see a future for the yellow revolution, because the battle for 2023, it is not only a battle for votes, it is also a financial battle. Because as you know, there's no money. We need money to help us in 2023. That's the first thing. Then the battle for votes, our votes are being suppressed because many people don't have IDs. So the few that are there, they shouldn't be taken by ZANU-PF through free regalia and free things. So the only person who can make the yellow revolution is yourself.
Leader. Just a small interruption here. Honorable Sikhala, I'm just hearing here it's an announcement from inside the party that alleges when Honorable Wenda has been abducted at Makoni shopping center.
You know, like what I'm telling you, the whole day has been a battle against ZANU-PF that has hijacked the funeral of our member. It was a huge conflict the whole afternoon. So I have not been able even to be on my phone. The first telephone call I had to answer is the one that I received from Washington Ali, who told me that, I was being waited for on this program. So I had to come right straight on this program. I need to make the confirmations for me to find out whether it is true or not. It is one issue I did not get any information at the present moment. So I need to find out the authenticity of this allegation, and then give the feedback to the people.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, my brother Simba and Honorable. The challenges that we have as a party, like our Honorable is saying, they try and do whatever they do to incapacitate us. They want to take any little cent that we get so that we are not resourced. This is why we are here tonight, and most nights to come, trying to find ways and means that we can help the situation that we have. Just in addition to the link that we have, I know there are people with second-hand mobile phones, smartphones. We are going to start a campaign to try and ask you, our friends, to donate any mobile phones that you feel um, you don't need anymore. I know here when the contract ends, you get another phone, a new phone. We need these gadgets to be able to use them during the elections and during blitz like this. So please, if you do have any, either a tablet, a laptop, a mobile phone, please, on our handle there, or DM myself and let us know where to collect, if you are happy to donate. These are pleas that we have. We are a party which has brains, but we need resources in order to get those brains execute what needs to be executed. I hand back the mic. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. And this is quite disturbing news about our SG. We hope a confirmation will be posted once Honorable VC gets the correct information. I hope he's going to tweet about it, so that the people who are here can also be able to know the truth. If it's not as well, can you kindly tweet, so that the people will be at rest, because it's a very disturbing news. So we'll now start going to the questions, and we are going to begin with my brother Simba. Do you have any question to Honorable Sikhala?
Oh, thank you. I maybe not now, because what I'm now doing is to try and just chase up Honorable Wende, if he is okay. I'm just held up for the next 5 minutes or so. But I will, once I'm done, I will come back and we'll continue with our discourse here. But maybe I will ask Honorable Sikhala what his feeling is vis-a-vis 2008, when Morgan Tsvangirai was just about to contest ZANU-PF. Do you feel that the citizens have progressed, that we are now more ready to face the monsters?
The citizens have always been ready to face the monster, and they always waited for the chance and opportunity for them to revenge against the ill treatment that they've been obtaining via the cluelessness of this regime. They've been ready at any given time, you know, and we are sure that come 26 March, the people of Zimbabwe are going to make a statement on those vacant constituencies and cities, no matter how much they are attempting to throttle ourselves from reaching out to the citizens. The citizens have already made a contract that they want to punish this regime. So let's wait. What will be obtained on the 26th of March will be a precursor of what will come out in 2023. So let's give the citizens of our country an opportunity, a fighting chance for them on the 26th of March. So all of us, we must be focused to make sure that the 26th of March is so critical that it will be a statement of what will be obtained in 2023. So all of us, we must engage and embark on mass mobilization activities and make sure that our people really are given an opportunity for them to make a statement. They are ready, and we must encourage them that they are ready. They must not hesitate to exercise their readiness against this regime.
Thank you so much. I will go to Chiwa, CC Professor. Chiwa, go ahead. Okay, it seems like Chiwa can't unmute himself. From Chiwa, let's go to Baba Mateu. Can you go ahead?
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Zico. Thank you, citizens. Welcome, VC. It's nice to have you on this platform. As always, you are an inspiration to everyone else, especially our young people. Can I just confirm right at the same time? Can I also just confirm what you have been saying in terms of registration? I've had confirmations. I've got people on the ground that I've asked to man polling stations that in Ward 1 where they've started in Boera West constituency. And it's sad, really, that people are coming in, and unfortunately, most of them are being told tender away because obviously they say you don't have the proper ID. And unfortunately, for them to get an ID now, it is becoming almost impossible. They now have to go to Chivu, which is a distance of over 50 kilometers. And we are having now to start organizing transport for those people to go and get their IDs. And even those that are being actually attended to, you find that, for example, if you get there, they are saying if you get there and you want to check your name in the register, your name will not be there. And then also when you question why, then so what then happened after a few people at one polling station, after a few people had failed to get their names there, they started saying that no, we are no longer going to check any names. That will wait for some other day. For now, we just want those that are going to register with their IDs. And so and also I've noted throughout the constituency, the places, the polling stations that they're actually registering they've been very selective, a proper rigging mechanism. Because, for example, in Ward 6, which they've never won, which ZANU-PF they've never won, but they've got one corner of a polling station that they always they always get their figures from. This is where they are actually going to, throughout the whole ward, that's where they are going to carry out their registration in that ward. So, you know, you can see that it's quite systematic and they know exactly what they are doing. Let me come back to the question that we have right now. Future of the yellow revolution. The future of the yellow revolution, to me, is the future of citizens. It's the future of my children. It's the future of my grandchildren. And therefore, it's the future of every Zimbabwean. And therefore, this is where, like Washington was saying, appealing for funding, we all just need to get our hands on the deck. It's a serious issue. I can assure you, and I think Honorable Job Sikhala was there in Marondera. I'm involved in the current campaigning in Marondera Central on a day-to-day basis, even though I'm far away like this. But I'm involved in the nitty-gritties of arranging and organizing and trying to fund whatever the needs that are there. It's a very big task that is there. I feel for people that are our MPs that were recalled, because when this thing came, it was just came like you know, like thunder, and nobody was prepared to actually to actually go for it. When we thought they were going to have the recalled MPs and the councillors were going to go for by-elections, the by-elections never came. And when they came, they were more like a secret than a proper, well-organized thing, simply because obviously it's trying to rig the by-elections as well. But in terms of funding, I really appeal that if people can find in their heart, don't worry that you have got a pound. Don't worry that you've got $1. $1, a pound, £2, 10, it helps. It goes a very long way, especially in this struggle. Because like you have been getting the prizes for posters, for flyers, for t-shirts and things like that. Whatever amount you put there will actually go a very long way, and it will put the candidate to peace, to a peace of mind. Because I'll tell you what, you don't want to be cracking on trying to get organize a strategy, and then also at the same time you are thinking, okay, I need so many flyers. Where do I get the money? You know, we don't want our candidates to be doing that. As citizens, let's get involved seriously once and for all. Finish with these by-elections and teach ZANU-PF a lesson, and then we start preparing for the 2023 elections. That will be my advice, because it's not good. The moment we are going to falter on these by-elections, it means ZANU-PF will find it in themselves a very good reason why they are going to rig the 2023 election. We should even forget about them once we cannot actually make sure we win the current by-elections for both MPs and councillors. And so, to me, going forward, really, I look forward to citizens, the citizens involved. We've got economists in the citizens. We've got engineers in the citizens. We've got lawyers in the citizens. And Honorable Sikhala, let me say to you that with you as citizens who are the lawyers, I'm looking forward that you guys the lawyers start hammering on ZEC, making sure that ZEC complies, making sure that the law is followed, going into the judiciary, ensuring that try and untangle and the malabas to make sure that we somehow get a fair judiciary. And even you can see also on the NGOs, there are laws in the country that can actually, the NGOs can actually make a very big difference. But you can see what the government is actually doing to them. Journalists like Hopewell, Chikanza, and all of them, it is good that you guys get on deck as well as citizens and start fighting the disinformation in the country. That will help us. But the rest of us as citizens, if we are not involved in any other capacity, let's raise the money. Let's make sure that that is if we are in the diaspora. And at home, let's ensure that we actually urge people to go and register and assist them. Like I'm telling you, really, it's a mammoth task in the rural areas. We can assist if we can assist them to transport them to registration centers to get their IDs and ensure that they then go on to register. That would be great. Because I mean, yes, to Payatoneta. And so
Yes.
this is what I can contribute so far. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Baba Mateo. I understand your involvement in the campaigns for by-elections and also in the voter registration blitz. Thank you so much for the work that you are doing. And because you mentioned lawyers, I will go to Advocate Kenneth Masie in case you have a brief answer for you. But let's now start keeping it under 2 minutes so that we can have more people speaking. So thank you so much, Baba Mateo. Go ahead, Advocate Masie.
Oh, thank you very much, leader. And my question was going to Honorable Job Sikhala, but I do appreciate the last contribution of lawyers getting involved in litigation and making sure that the level is equal. Because right now, as we know, we do have a constitution that has got many provisions that are supposed to be aligned by domestic laws and including, but not limited to, the Electoral Act itself and other laws that enable a very conducive environment in Zimbabwe. So basically, I do appreciate the last caller's contributions, and I know probably Honorable Sikhala would elaborate on that. So, but my question was going to Honorable Sikhala. We know that besides the campaigns and the fundraising that is going to be there, we know that there's going to be a lot of litigation. It's ZANU-PF's strategy to arrest, abduct activists, and it's their strategy to make sure that we focus our energies in courts rather than with the citizens. And we know that a lot of our members are going to be arrested. So my question was basically, or probably just seeking probably more advice on how we lawyers in the diaspora, or even ordinary citizens in the diaspora, can come up with ways of also putting pressure on the regime whilst we're here. Because we know that litigation basically in Zimbabwe, we do have it and we do have courts, but it's not that effective. But how can we use various mechanisms here that are relevant to the discourse in Zimbabwe? And what can he advise us on, in terms of strategy on how to probably start doing this, or, how to probably prepare for this, this these coming elections and other elections to come, and also help people on the ground to make sure that we do have effective systems that will work to pressure the government back home.
Fantastic question, my brother Kenneth. Mama, very, 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 very important question on how the citizens outside Zimbabwe in diaspora can assist on our colleagues who would definitely be meeting the wrath of the dictatorship via persecution, arrests, and a lot of things. The first thing that I would encourage you, my brother Kenneth, is for you to constitute yourself into Zimbabwe Lawyers Diaspora Forum, an institution that will push and make sure that the rule of law and all other tenets of constitutionalism are followed in Zimbabwe. You also understand that there are a lot of and several mechanisms of raising issues of Zimbabweans who are persecuted here in the country via the United Nations mechanisms through the United Nations Human Rights Council. We want our matters to be tabled and referred to the to the United Nations Human Rights Council as many as they can on those people that that are being persecuted in our country. As a legal practitioner, you know the procedures of how to raise these matters before those platforms. So if you will be able to constitute yourselves, there are a lot of brilliant lawyers like yourselves who are currently living in exile, or who are currently in diaspora, who can I urge you to constitute yourselves into Zimbabwe Lawyers Diaspora Forum, where you will be able to raise all issues of political and human rights abuses that are taking place home. You must be the fearless voice that will amplify the voices of those people who are currently here at home in different forums in the international community. The moment when we do not, we only concentrate on the rear front, and we forget that also the international community has an important role to play in our domestic politics. We will be divorced from the truth. The international community, even during the period of the liberation struggle, played a critical role in terms of logistical support, in terms of training the guerrilla fighters, in terms of giving financial resources to those people who have been on the front. So also you can play a very important role if you organize yourself into an outfit that will speak on behalf of the people here in Zimbabwe on the excesses of the state in human rights abuses and you know, the issues of the rule of law, constitutionalism, you know, the separation of powers, the way how Zimbabwe is currently having a crisis. We are no longer having only a crisis in the executive, where we have been always talking about Emerson Mnangagwa's illegitimacy because of the stolen victory which he did against Advocate Nelson Chamisa. But we also have the judicial crisis in our country, where the judiciary has been politicized and used as a weapon of persecuting opposition leaders and opposition activists in our country, where the crisis in the judiciary has ended up being amplified by what has happened during the period of the extension of the term of office of the current Chief Justice. The Chief Justice, who is the chief executive and the chief administrator of the judiciary in our country, where the separation of powers between the executive, the legislature, and the executive and the judiciary is no longer distinct. But we are now having the judiciary as the command center. We are now having the executive as the command center of other arms of the state. We should operate independently. And we need you to amplify those views on the international fora, where you will speak out. And there is no any more important weapon. We do not have guns. We do not have anything. What we have is our voices. We want your voices to be heard. You must knock. You must make noise. You must speak out fearlessly about the excesses of the regime back home here. And I urge you, my brother Kenneth, please pioneer the institution of a forum of legal practitioners who are currently in diaspora to speak out about events that are happening back home. You know how much the voices of legal practitioners are being respected throughout the world. You can also lobby the International Bar Association, the United Nations Bar Association of Legal Practitioners, telling them about things that are happening back home here. The moment you will be able to constitute yourself into a forum that will be a voice for what is happening back home here, you will do a lot of work for the citizens back home here. We must hear you speaking and speaking and speaking about the human rights abuses we are facing in our country, the way how democracy has been defeated, and the way how constitutionalism, the rule of law, and the separation of powers has been thrown out of the window. So I think I urge you to, as soon as possible, constitute yourself into a powerful outfit that will speak on behalf of your country. I thank you.
Thank you so much, VC, for that. My brother Kenneth, we are in touch. Let's make sure that the Zimbabwe Lawyers Diaspora Forum becomes a success. I'll also inbox you to see how we can go forward, and all the lawyers that are here, kindly inbox to make sure that this idea doesn't get drowned in the discussions that are happening. I have tweeted about it so that we don't forget. So VC, we are going to pursue the idea that you have just mentioned of constituting the Zimbabwe Lawyers Diaspora Forum. We'll get in touch with all the lawyers in the diaspora that we know as a network, and we'll make sure that that is done. From there, we are going to Vimbai, then Nisabuk, then Mambo Shoshe.
Thank you very much. I'm Vimbai Mamombe. I have a question for the Honorable Job Sikhala. As the Vice President, of course, you have decided to come on this forum and speak to the diaspora community. My question is, the diaspora community is a community that is very proactive when it comes to issues that concern Zimbabwe. People in the diaspora have got Zimbabwe at heart, and it's very heartbreaking to actually see what is going on in that country. And there's so many wrong things that are going on, and we want to participate as the diaspora, but we need CCC to raise its bar in terms of integrity. When you come to people, especially when you want resources, the most important thing is to have integrity, to create trust, because we don't want to be in a situation where the citizens are hyped up, ready to go, and they try their best for 2023, and then there's issues that arise from what happens in 2023 or what happens in this period as we're trying to raise funds. So I think CCC has a duty to the citizens to ensure that all these funds are then accounted for. All these funds are put, they should be actually also strong structures that are reputable, that are in the branches, or that are within the citizens, that will actually carry out the work of the CCC. My question to Honorable Sikhala is, how is the CCC ensuring that these things are being done for the citizens? Because we are really ready to go. The diaspora is ready, but there are also sentiments of mistrust. And this cannot be swept under the carpet. And we keep going at 150 kilometers an hour while we're leaving people one at a time behind. We need all of us to go together as citizens. And this issue has to be addressed. And how is CCC doing this?
Oh, thank you very much, Wimbai. Accountability is the hallmark of leadership. If we as the CCC are not able to distinct ourselves from ZANU-PF behavior, where we are not accountable to each and every coin that we obtain for the advancement of the freedom of our people, I don't think we deserve to be in leadership. I trust and I want to reassure you that we have put in place mechanisms that will make sure that there is no any cent or coin donated towards the struggle that is going to find its way into private people's pockets. Those people, there might be people who might sponsor each other on their own private arrangements. But where the pocket is, the national cause, where it comes via the proper channels, via the Treasurer General's office, via the platforms where people who are contributing towards the CCC activities in our country. We are making sure that everything is
The VC is dropped, but whilst you're waiting for him, we can assure you that everything that is fundraised here is actually getting into the party account, and the Treasurer General gets everything that is done here, the receipts, the invoices, the reports, and everything. So definitely everything will be above board, because we have a lot of people. Once you have spoken, I would like to say that we'll give you a chance after everyone else who has requested has spoken. We only have one chance because we don't have a lot of time. So when we are finished with everyone, then you'll be able to come back. Thank you for that. Let's go Sabuku back whilst we're waiting for VC.
Thank you very much, Ccc Diaspora, Zico, and thank you very much to everyone who has graced this space. Firstly, I want to thank Honorable Sikhala for that very wonderful, passionate articulation of the future of the Yellow Revolution. And the future of the Yellow Revolution is within us, the citizens. We are the future, us, the citizens. When I say the citizens, I'm talking about us, the people, because it all begins with us. And as the Honorable's articulation is, this future of the Yellow Revolution is going to need resourcing. You can see the serious state of our CCC revolution as far as finance is concerned. So it is entirely up to us, the citizens, especially the ones who can spare a donation. And here I'm talking about us in the diaspora. So it is entirely up to us to see that this future of the Yellow Revolution is funded, it is oiled, and we are the drivers of this revolution. So it is very important that we resource the struggle. And thanks to Wimbai for what she raised as far as accountability is concerned. I think it's an area that we really need to keep knocking that it is done and every cent is accounted for. And thank you, Honorable Sikhala, for assuring us that it will be accounted and it's going through the Treasury, the National Treasury, which will account for every cent that we receive. But of importance is organizing and mobilizing. All the leaders here, I urge you to speak to the next guy or the next few people around you to make sure they're involved and they get to contribute to this struggle. And it's all in organizing. But whilst on organizing, I got a question for Honorable Sikhala if he's here now. Organizing begins back home as well, especially you guys on the ground. You are the guys who got a lot more to do as far as organizing is concerned and mobilizing is concerned, because you're in direct contact with the voters, you're in direct contact with the situations back home. And it's those little things which become bigger things. Here I'm talking about the issue of double candidates, which is happening in Masvingo, the highly publicized one in Masvingo. It's an issue that we had the last election, and it's an issue that I think should be solved, and these people should be talked to and make sure it's resolved as ASAP, because it's an issue which is very difficult for us even to defend when it is there, when it is outstanding. And you know what we are going through, especially on these spaces with the other side, the Varakashi. They take these single incidents and run away with them. So it is very important that it is resolved. And Honorable Sikhala, I don't know what the issue in Masvingo, Irufamba say and Ichafamba say, and how is it going to resolve? I know we have managed to resolve the other ones amicably, which is very good and which is the biggest stake. So Honorable Sikhala, that's my question on the issue of double candidates. Thank you very much for this platform. And ladies and gentlemen, let's donate as much as we can, or the little that we have, today. And that's why we have this spaces so much that at least we come out with something on every space. So let's go to the link that has been posted and let's put something. I just put mine there. So whatever you can, leaders, let's do it. Thank you very much. I hand back the mic.
Thank you very much, Sabuk, for your very serious concerns that they are very important. That is the Mashingo small hurdle. You know, as you understand, we tried to resolve it. We had to store, you know, the signed papers from the signatories from the office, and then caused all this pandemonium and these clashes. We tried to resolve that. We are in the process of making sure that it is going to be solved. Managed to solve the other issue of double candidates. You know, the problem with us is that we join the struggle in you know, for different motives. Others join that becoming a member of parliament or a councillor is employment. That's why you realize that those people who take politics as an employment opportunity are people who are always misdirecting themselves. It's a do or die situation. So we have got a long way, including yourselves and all of us, to teach each other that the main goal and objective for our existence is an alternative in our country, is to change what has been oppressive to the common good of our people for over 40 years.
I can see that VC has dropped again. He will be back. Mambo Shoshe, can you go ahead?
Thank you, Dr. Rico. Thank you, all the hosts and co-hosts, and thank you everyone who is here. You are playing your part in the struggle just by attending this space. And let me thank in absentia. I know you will come back, our honorable Vice Chairperson and Member of Parliament for St. Mary's, for, you know, being here. It's important that we have our leaders coming here. I just want to talk briefly while we wait for our vice chairperson to talk about our contribution as Zimbabweans in the diaspora. I just made a short video to that effect as well. The Yellow Revolution, comrades and friends, is as much in the hands of our leaders and our fellow comrades on the trenches, in Zimbabwe, as it is to us Zimbabweans in the diaspora. We have so much to offer. You heard Mr. Mateo talking about how effective and how involved he is in the Marondera campaign. Everyone here can be involved. All of us here, it doesn't matter where you are, you can be fully involved in what is going on in Zimbabwe. And we can start by this voter registration blitz. Imagine if all of us here could pick up the phone today or text message or send a message to your family groups and encourage your friends and relatives, your family, your households to go and register to vote. We are influencers. You can easily influence your brother, your sister, your mother, or your father to go and register to vote. Personally, I've made it a point. I'm not helping anyone within my family. They know it. I've made it very clear to them. I'm not giving anyone any cent or any help until they show me that they've gone to register. Recently, I gave them $100, and I think about 12 of them managed to go and register. Imagine what $100 can do to your family, and they will all go and register. Once they are influenced, once you influence your household, your family members to go and register, it means they are going to influence the village. And once the whole village is registered, it is now the whole community. And the whole community will lead to the whole country, you know, being satellite, everyone going to register to vote. Elections are won by the people who show up to go and register, and those who eventually show up to go and vote. If we don't do that, then this yellow revolution will not mean anything. Let's begin by encouraging our friends and relatives to go and register to vote. And then lastly, the other thing that we can also do here as diasporans is to appreciate what Honorable Job Sikhala is doing. Let's not appreciate him by just saying, thank you, Honorable, thank you, Honorable. Let's appreciate him by showing that we as diasporans, we are ready to support this struggle. We begin right now by making sure that we provide resources to those who want to go and register to vote. We provide resources to our illegally removed members of parliament so that they can retain their positions in parliament. So let's begin, let's support this initiative. Let's jump on that link right now and donate something. And myself, as soon as I get off, I'm going to give my $50. And if we all can do something about this, we all can give $10, $20, whatever we can, it will make a whole lot of difference. This struggle is our struggle. Nobody can support it. There are no more donors. We are the donors. Let's support our struggle by contributing the little that we can. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chief, for those kind words and for your generosity. We are going to be moving at a faster rate now. Everyone has a minute, so you need to just come, say your contribution or your question in under a minute, so that as many people as possible can speak, because we've got a number of requests. So JT, after JT, Peter and Fulcrum, after that Emmanuel, 3 at a time. So JT, go ahead.
Thanks, host. My question to the honorable is regarding because I know most youth that I've spoken to in Zimbabwe, they face issues around proof of residence. Because some of the youth in university colleges, they rent, and sometimes they face difficulties getting the proof of residence from their landlords. But I've seen that the honorable put a tweet about some services. So there's, I think there was one of advocate Fred Masarire who's offered these services to help with affidavits. My question to him is, what is there anything more that's being done to support the youth in terms of, getting these affidavits and directing them to access, some of these services that are being offered? Because I know you put a tweet on, this. I think it was yesterday or this afternoon. But is there something more that has been done to direct these youths to obtain this proof of residence, because they're very important?
Thank you for that. We kind of ask. I can see our elections secretariat is here. I can see Honorable Ellen Shiriedenga is here. If you would be kind enough to request the mic and answer some of the questions, because I think some of them, they lie within your department. If you are at a place where you can speak, that would be appreciated. If not, that's okay still. From there, I think Wilbert has been waiting for a very long time. Wilbert, can you go ahead? Wilbert, can you go ahead and speak?
Thank you very much. I can see that the VC is not there, but I'll ask the question anyway. Hopefully that he'll be able to answer when he gets back. My main concern is we have got a problem in Zimbabwe of rigged elections. We have had this problem for donkey years now. Are we not just repeating ourselves by participating in these elections when we know they are going to be rigged? ZANU-PF is already rigging these elections. This problem of voter registration, we have seen this happen again and again. I just wanted to remind Job Sikhala and hear his comment on the comment that was made by David Coulthard in his book regarding the 2013 elections. In it, he clearly said the obvious thing to have done in 2013 was to boycott the elections. But they could not boycott them because MDCT and MDCN could not trust each other not to go ahead and boycott. Are we not just repeating the same thing here? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Wobet. When the VC comes, we'll remind him of that question. But what I can say to your concerns, if elections didn't work, I don't think ZANU-PF would be campaigning and ZANU-PF would be blocking the CCC from going to the raw areas to the extent of even disturbing funerals. If elections didn't work, if campaigning didn't work, I think that maybe ZANU-PF would not even be worried. They'll say, go and campaign all you want, and we are just going to rig anyway. So it means there's something about voter registration, something about elections that makes ZANU-PF afraid, because otherwise they wouldn't be going with bars of soaps to try and buy votes and all that. All that vote buying that takes place, all the blocking that they are doing to our president and the candidates, all that is evidence that there is something good about voting. If it wasn't effective, they wouldn't even be trying to do voter suppression through not offering people's IDs. They would just say, all of you just go and get IDs anyhow and go and register to vote, and we are going to rig the ballot. So elections actually do work. Otherwise, ZANU-PF wouldn't be campaigning right now. That's what I can say. But when the VC comes, he will speak for himself. Pete and Fulcrum, you can go ahead.
Good evening, Nkomaziko, and the rest of the team. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, go ahead. We are listening.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's also unfortunate that the vice chair has left. However, I'm very much worried about the developments that we have just heard concerning our SG, concerning what we heard yesterday about the vandalism of Sister Judia Tobayo's car in Kwekwe. You know, we're very worried of what is happening, what ZANU-PF is doing. And my question now is, what exactly needs to be done as a party? Because we are seemingly to be falling victims to these guys. And they are doing whatever that they want. They are campaigning without any disturbances. What exactly needs to be done? I guess we need to draw the line on the sand and say now or never, because we cannot afford to. So I wish that say what needs to be done, because if he is saying, the vice chair, that they failed to bury today because ZANU-PF interrupted the service and they could not bury, that means there are bulls in our country. So I wonder if they are more special citizens than anyone else. What exactly needs to be done? I guess we have to respond to that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Before you leave, Fulcrum and Pete, if you were given an opportunity to proffer a solution, what would your solution be?
Come again.
if you were asked to come up with a solution for the challenge that you are currently facing, what would your solution be?
Well, I guess intensifying the security was going to be part of my solution, intensifying the solution and having young people to make sure that we protect the movement, because we always hear the deputy spokesperson saying it's high time that we protect our zones of autonomy. So I believe that our comrades, our young people, we also have to protect this very movement. At the same time, doing something that is going to be legal, that is not going to find us in prison at the same time. So I don't know. That is why I'm willing that the leadership could assist so that we balance the legal aspect of it and protecting all that which belongs to us. Because we saw their tracks in the afternoon on social media, many our programs. You could wonder what exactly was happening. So we need a clear-cut solution to say we need to do this, because I'm afraid we are also falling victims. And it's not worrying. It's very worrying that we are all victims of these guys, and they are doing all what they want.
Thank you very much. I think network was a problem there. Our VC is back. Thank you, VC. You can take the floor.
Hello, VP. Are you able to speak now?
We can hear you. You're loud and clear.
We can't hear the VC. You are hearing the host, Mr. Washington. Honorable, can you hear us? Okay. I think the Honorable is not yet back. We can hear the dog behind, though. Right. Whilst we are waiting for him to be able to unmute, we'll go to Emmanuel whilst we are waiting for the VC to come back.
Hello, comrades and friends.
Yes, go ahead.
Yep. I want to acknowledge the presence of the Honorable MP and our Vice President here and the rest of the team here. My question really is to do with the diaspora vote. It's really disheartening to hear that they are frustrating our children and stopping them from registering. And also, on the same token, I wonder what's happening with the diaspora, because what gives someone the push to pay for an air ticket to go back to Zimbabwe to vote? Apparently, we cannot vote from here because I'm in the diaspora. So my question is, when it comes to encouraging the diaspora to register to vote, what's happening? Are people registering from the diaspora? Because I mean, we can't all fly right now to Zimbabwe to register and then fly back to vote. But what gives someone the courage to buy a ticket, the push to buy a ticket to eventually go back to Zimbabwe to vote, is also the issue that you would have registered. So I just wanted to know what could be happening about
that. Yes, thank you so much, Emmanuel. Unfortunately, VC is not here. But what I would say is if our finances, for those who are not able to go, I would take, for example, a trip from the EU or the US usually costs around $1,000 round ticket, or even more, 1.5. If you then sacrifice your 1,500 for the movement instead of going to vote, and that 1,500 is used to ensure that maybe 30 people who are at home actually vote instead of you going in person, it might, your money that you use for the ticket might actually be more effective than you going to cast one vote if your
Okay.
money can actually generate more votes.
Oh, yeah.
But I am not the VC. You will answer when he's back. From yourself, we'll go to Fresh, then Sin or Sean.
Perhaps, host, if I could just come in temporarily there.
Okay.
It looks like there's a level of fear there when you're in diaspora. I don't think there's any reason or any need to fear. There are some people who are actually going home to go and register to vote. On another platform that there was one of our sister in the United States. She's been going home to vote. She makes sure she registers and she goes. That's just an example of one person. So in that respect, I know they would not want us to vote from here because they know or they think that everyone in the diaspora supports the opposition, and as such, they will make sure that that doesn't happen because they know that they will be finished. So that is the one of the factors. Secondly, we here in the diaspora, because some of us are not able to go, our voice, speaking with our families, speaking with our friends, and encouraging them to go and vote, even if it means giving them an incentive to say, if you go and take an ID, I'll give you a fiver, and you go and register to vote, I'll give you another fiver. That's another vote that we know is ready for when an election comes. So, really and truly, when the VP is here, or when our leadership from Zimbabwe are here, they are doing their part. And the challenge is with us to do our part. I'll give you an analogy. If for some reason somebody comes to your house and steals something from your house, you see them through the CCTV, let's suppose, you get them arrested, or you find someone trying to take something that is yours, you get them arrested. But we have a situation where we are allowing politicians to steal our livelihood, to steal the money which is supposed to go towards education, towards rehabilitation of roads, towards the healthy. So all those things is actually literally stealing our life. Those people have literally stolen everything to a point where there's no employment in Zimbabwe. But them themselves and their kids, they're okay. So I think those are things that we need to protest and say no to. And how do we say no to? It's platforms like this that we have, that we need to show that we are angry about these people, that we need to take proper responsibility to say, Zimbabwe is our home. But now we are being treated like we are second class citizens. Do we really want to be like second class citizens? No. So, how do we take responsibility? Let's resource our party. Let's make sure our party is resourced because we know we've got soldiers that are willing to go in 150% with their lives. We could hear that SG has been abducted. We heard that people were chased away in the afternoon from a funeral. Then another funeral in St. Mary's. So there is so much that is happening which is not allowed. And those are things that we need to protest against. And our protest will go in terms of saying, I am going to make sure my party is resourced. Because when our party is resourced, if we do well in these elections, it basically means those are our voices. Our voices are heard. So I hope I've managed to answer part of what you have asked. But to be honest, we have to take responsibility as Zimbabwe is our country. Now, I always give an example to say, when you have a mortgage, somebody wants to play around with your house that you have mortgaged, you will tell them, you will do whatever it is to stop them from doing that. So let's take the same concept and say, Zimbabwe, I've got shares in Zimbabwe. I'm Zimbabwean. And because I've got shares in Zimbabwe, if anybody messes around with Zimbabwe, they're messing around with me, and I'm not allowing that. Now, this is the protest that we can do.
Thank you.
Back to you, host.
Thank you so much for that. I hope that question has been addressed. Let's go to Fresh Ash. Fresh Ash.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
All right. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to to air our frustrations and then to air our suggestions and views as well on the platform. I'm happy to note that, I mean, across the world, everyone is listening in and it's progressive. You know, it's not easy to take on such a monster. You know, and if it was easy, then we could have just said, okay, we'll meet you at the election. Right now, because of CCC, we've changed the dynamics. The dynamics is now a two-horse race versus where it was maybe 4 or 5 parties that were going to mix up votes. So because of that, we are going to get more pressure from ZANU-PF. We're going to get more pressure from all sectors, right? Then from there, I would also want to say people need to learn from the West. People need to learn from the West. When I mean that, what I mean by that is that elections are so important for the West. I mean, when you get elections for America or the UK, everything stands still for close to 2 months. You know, there's debates, there's open, I mean, challenges, people speaking their minds. But all that goes back to the people getting involved. We need to make sure when we talk to our family, on our family groups, we mobilize people. I'm happy that Sabugu said he's not sending money to people until they show them their registration slips. That's the message everyone should say. You know, once we do that, we've got one step ahead. But in the event that we don't get a fruitful result come the next election, for this election, we need to soldier on and just keep going on, because this is the dawn for the next generation. And bear in mind, ZANU-PF, most of these guys are becoming extinct. I think that's it from me.
Thank you so much, so much. Then let's go to Sean.
Thank you, Chair. Greetings, fellow compatriots, comrades and friends. I want to check about my audibility. Am I audible enough?
Yes, very much.
Thank you, sir. All right. Okay. So speaking on behalf of students who are in South Africa, we are based in South Africa. We are actually based at Wits University, and we are actually mobilizing students from various learning institutions, the likes of Wits, UJ, and all other universities which are within the nation. So our issue is about the issue of our regalia. We are seeking not assistance in terms of buying, but we want to have at least, if we can be assisted with the template, which will be maybe governed by the youth council, so as to have our own regalia, because we are trying actually to make sure that we mobilize as many as we can in terms of the students. So the issue that we are actually working on is that we are also encouraging them to go and register to vote. So how is it that going to happen for them to go and register to vote? So we, amongst us, we have got those who are also working class, they are studying and working. So we have put in place that we should raise at least some funds, so that by a certain period of time, depending with the number of our students who are actually vowed to say that they want to go and cast the vote, we are going to provide transport for them to go and register to vote to Zimbabwe. But the issue is that we were thinking that if we can mobilize all of them to go to Zimbabwe, the issue was to say that, or the question that I have at hand is that, is it possible that all of us as students from who are in South Africa to go and register to vote to a closest place soon after the border? I'm talking of the Beatty Bridge and all other places which are closer to the border. And then when it comes to voting, maybe we can then choose later on to say I'm going to cast my vote there, or I'm going to cast my vote there, because we've seen that really the struggle in Zimbabwe is our struggle, and us as young people, we need to take a pivotal role so as to make sure that this new movement is well known to everywhere, and the message is reaching everyone. So the question is it possible that to us as students, we can actually go and cast register to vote at a closer place in this regards? I'm referring to Bay Bridge. And then when it comes to voting now, we can actually vote in other places. Thank you.
Thank you so much. VC, if you can go ahead. I don't know if you had all the questions. Before you came, there were other questions that came. The first one being, with the state of affairs, that ZANU-PF is even preventing things like funerals. Should we just wait and fold our hands when we are being bullied like that? Then the other one was about the diaspora vote. Yeah, then what you have heard from the students. Unfortunately, it's dropped again. Okay, so we'll go to Denford whilst we wait.
Okay, thank you very much, host and Washington. I'm very appreciative of the time that you've afforded me. I would also want to thank our fellow listeners. I've got one question to do with the issue of protecting our vote. I understand we the Zimbabweans have decided to take the Zambian route, to take the template that the Zambians did in order for the opposition to dislodge the ruling party. And they have used the different mechanisms, including the use of the social media like we are doing now, and then also particular the issue of protecting the vote after casting their ballots. Now, I'm not very sure, unfortunately, Honorable Sikhala is also dropped, but maybe among us, there is someone who is very familiar with how it goes, the issue of protecting the vote, in particular in Zimbabwe, where the regime might want to be doing what it knows best in as far as dealing with people who would want to do something that they are not, but that's they allege could be unlawful. So the issue of protecting the vote after casting the ballot, is it only designed for the polling agents or the person, an ordinary voter after voting? And if it is an ordinary voter, does it necessarily mean that me after voting I've got to wait until the counting of it? And if it is like that, does it not give a way or a leeway for the government or for the regime to deal with the voters afterwards? Because obviously it's like.
You can go ahead and respond.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead, VC, and respond.
Thank you very much. The protection of the vote is one of the most important aspects that we have been lacking in our politics. Since when we started to contest against ZANU-PF in 2000. Why it is important that when a voter casts his or her vote at a polling station, he or she must wait for the outcome of the result at that polling station peacefully to see whether his or her vote has been counted. We cannot continuously be afraid of the regime, that they will descend on the people when they are waiting for their vote to be counted. If they will descend on the people after they are voting only for them to wait for the results to be pasted on the polling station, because you have to understand that our laws provide that when the vote counting is completed, all the results must be pasted on the polling station where the voting took place. If they are going to attack the people using the state machinery, it will create a crisis. And that is exactly what we want. When we are just going to vote and return back home, and they announce fake results, and then try to whatever people will try to do, will not create enough crisis for us to reclaim back our vote. So if they are going to create a crisis on the aftermath of the counting of the voting, that is exactly what we want them to do. That will give the people of Zimbabwe to claim back their victory, no matter what it takes. We have been oppressed for a long time for us not to be able to determine the future of our country on the basis of fear. Fear is the greatest enemy of endeavor. The moment when fear rules you, you must understand that you are always defeated at every turn. Now is the time, dear Zimbabweans, when all of us will defy the vicissitudes of the regime to use excess power to suppress the sovereignty of our people. The people of Zimbabwe have not been able to determine their future on the basis of fear. For how long shall we remain fearful for us to determine our future? If we are fearful, we will be ruled by ZANU-PF for the coming 100 years. They know how to reap the fruits of fear. The moment when we allow ZANU-PF to reap the fruits of fear from us, then we are doing nothing. There are moments, like what I earlier said, when the citizens and the people of Zimbabwe should be able to stand up and say enough is enough. We have lost so many people because of poverty. We have seen how much our Zimbabwean kith and kin are being humiliated in other jurisdictions, the way how our brothers are being humiliated in South Africa. On every day, insults are being thrown all over the corner. They are being shuffled back to this country as if they are rubbish. Even when you come across and see countries like Zambia announcing that they no longer want Zimbabweans to sell at their markets, you have to realize that it's us Zimbabweans who can put the situation correct in our country. We are being humiliated even in Mozambique, where we used to have thousands and thousands of Zimbabweans working in our country in the 80s and 90s, running away from the Renamo-Frelimo war. But now we are going to Mozambique to seek for a living. Zimbabweans are now dotted all over the world, not because of their free will, but on the basis of their country that has gone under decades of misgovernance for a long time. Now is the time for Zimbabweans to say enough is enough. 2023, we are going to draw the line in the sand. Whatever they will do, they should do it, but knowing well that Zimbabweans are prepared to defend their vote. We are going to do that in a manner that we have learned from the Zambians. If Zambians could have been afraid of Edgar Lungu tried to adopt the frightful dictatorship tendencies when he rose to power to frighten his people that they will die if they want to tamper around with his governance. But the people of Zambia said enough is enough. What kind of weak people are we to be the lamb that is always killed silent in our country? We must be able to speak for the good cause of our country in 2023, and make sure that we gather all the courage and master the bravery which this regime will not be able to overcome in 2023 for us to be able to reclaim back our sovereignty as the people. I thank you.
Thank you so much, VC, for that. We can also now confirm that we received message from our communications department that SG Wende is safe now. So we are grateful that he is safe, and it's information from our communications department. We had to go and check with them. So he is safe now. Can we go to curate?
Thank you. I just wanted to touch on 2 points. The first point is on accountability. I am not privy of the previous past where it was still MDC, but in terms of accountability for the new CCC, if you can adopt in your plans to have like your financials audited and then be published to the people, that will create another avenue of transparency where, if it's a citizens thing, where people donate whatever they can donate, and then, at the end of the year, they can be audited financial results, and then that's available to the people. That can be another bonus in terms of getting a lot of people and accountability and transparency. And then on the second issue, on voters registration, it seems, like the planet disparity, like what's happening on social media and then what's happening on the ground. Like I can see on social media, like people like Wende, they are going background, but mobilize our because as you know, most people are not.
You can go ahead and respond, Honorable.
No, I totally agree with you. Like what I have answered, I hope my answer to the same question by Mbai was heard before I got switched off. When I said accountability is the hallmark of leadership. We are the only political organization in this country who published its financial statements during the period when we were obtaining the political parties' finances via the Political Parties Finance Act some 3 years ago, before our money was stolen and given to Douglas Monjora's outfit. Transparency will remain our key modus operandi. Like what I earlier said, if there might be individuals with private financial dealings that are not channeled through the proper channels of the party via the Treasurer General's system, that would make it difficult for the party to account for all the monies that are being channeled towards its activities in the country. So I urge all of you that it is not only the finances that we need. You can organize yourselves to say, we are going to make a donation of 100,000 t-shirts. So you bring here in Zimbabwe the donation in form of goods. We are going to donate 1 million posters for each and every constituency or for the presidential vote. And for the presidential vote, it's more easier because our candidate is already known beforehand that it is President Advocate Nelson Chamisa. That will cure
some of those accountability questions that our supporters and citizens are asking for. Giving donation in kind is more accountable because no one will eat a poster or use a poster for anything except for the purpose it is designed for. And when it comes also to your other second question, that the social media activity is not commensurate with the turn out of people on the voter registration exercise, and moving around in various constituencies and various localities to urge people to go and vote is one of the strategic plans that we must implement. It's because you are witnessing and following what the SG is publicizing via his social media platforms. But this is an activity that is taking place throughout the country. Each and every branch of the party throughout the country is currently embarking on a voter registration campaign, door to door, household by household, street by street at the present moment. You realize that when the publication of the final results of the number of people who have been registered as new voters come out, if the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission doesn't manipulate the figures, as it is known that it is their tradition for them to manipulate the processes so as to already rig elections beforehand, you realize that many people are currently registering. They might not be queues, but they might go there in 3s or 2s or 4s, and that number accumulates to a huge turnout on a daily basis. They are not publicizing the daily results of the voter registration outcome throughout the country on the basis that they are trying to keep this information privately. That is also where you must make noise and demand accountability on the daily basis. That we want a transparent system where the voter registration exercise is a public engagement. And we as the public and citizens of our country, we want to know the number of voters who are registering on a daily basis. Why should it be difficult for ZEC to give us the daily turnout of voter registration throughout the country when they are using biometric system? All these are logged in the system of ZEC. But ZEC will tell you that we want to verify whether this voter is not yet a registered voter in a particular constituency or not, before we make the publication of the voter registration exercise. But there are many people who are moving constituencies who are also shifting their votes from their previous area of residence to a new constituency or a new ward. So for them to say that a person has double registered himself before verifying that this person is changing and shifting his vote really leaves a sour taste in our mouths. So we must hold ZEC to account for the activities that they are doing. They are doing it on using the public purse, and we must demand accountability from institutions whose purpose is to serve the public, not their narrow partisan interests. ZEC must be held accountable for the activities in the current voter registration exercise which they are doing. What we are also understanding is that ZEC is trying to manipulate the current voter registration exercise to deny many voters to exercise their right of vote during the 26th of March 2022 by-elections, because they know that between now and the 26th March, there will be no voter verification exercise that would have taken place between now and 26 March. So they will try to manipulate and confuse the citizens by not giving correct information. ZEC is so deceitful and does not serve the purpose for which it has been constituted to serve the citizens of our country. We have got a huge role for us to demand accountability from ZEC on the activities that they are currently engaging on the voter registration exercise. That is what I can say. But let me reassure you, there is huge campaigns throughout the country. This activity is taking and happening throughout the country, where our different players and the citizens are playing a major role, including civic society organizations, whose role and duty is to encourage citizens to get registered. I thank you.
Thank you so much. So all the speakers who are coming have 1 minute to ask your question. We should be as fast as possible before VP's network becomes a challenge. So 1 minute, the moment you pass a minute, you'll find yourself in the listeners, and you won't be able to come back until everyone knew has spoken. So Ruka, then go ahead, Ruka.
Thank you, host. So the VC briefly touched on my question. The question is, we know that ZEC is not fit for purpose. So what tangible steps are you going to take to ensure that the current ZEC is disbanded? Because we cannot keep on complaining about ZEC and then being cowed along, and then you have compromised results. Then the second question is around the voter registration. We know ZEC publicized some outrageous numbers, which were very low. Is there any parallel voter tallying that the movement is doing to ensure that all the registered voters find their way onto the voters roll? Thank you.
Thank you very much for your question on how to deal with ZEC's partisan, operations since time immemorial, and what are we doing for us to make sure that ZEC gets reformed before the next elections. The first thing that we have to understand is that this is not only the responsibility of ourselves as political leaders, it is the responsibility of all the citizens of our country to make sure that, because ZEC is a creation of our constitution, that they follow their constitutional mandate as they have been created. So the onus is on all of us to find ways and method and means on how to deal with ZEC. But the most important aspect that we are currently doing is demanding as much electoral reforms as possible, including the reforming of ZEC. We are doing advocacy around the demand for reforms around how ZEC is currently constituted. ZEC as currently constituted is an animal whose duty and role is to maul the will of the people of Zimbabwe. They are not serving purpose to which they have been created for, like what you have exactly described. So it is also all our duty, Ruka, to make sure that we hold ZEC to accountable. There must be as much advocacy around the issue on how ZEC is operating as much as possible, and make sure that the people of Zimbabwe are allowed to determine the future of their own country. That is what I can say in short. Your second question, I've just missed it. If you can just be given a second just to remind you about your second question.
Okay, it seems as if he has already dropped. But there's another follow-up question which came by inbox, which is saying, is it not possible to sue ZEC, like taking them to court via legal means, like what they do when they are suing political prisoners? Can we sue ZEC in the same way?
The issue of the lawfare which we have been embarking on. Of course, though it remains, plan B and another option that we have. He has been strongly and severely criticized by many citizens in our country that we understand the outcome of every court challenge that we do is predetermined. So it now depends whether people have got faith in our courts to deliver a just judgment on issues that is brought before it. Is our judiciary an impartial adjudicator to the issues of political dispute in our country? We have noticed that when it comes to political issues, and when it comes even on dealing with matters being accused against the political opponents of our of the current regime, the judiciary is always found to be wanting. So this is one aspect that we have to seriously inquire among ourselves. Are we getting the justice we seek from our courts or not? If not, what is the route for us to make sure that the demands that we want to do as citizens are obtained? The only route is for us to engage on serious advocacy, like what we have been seeing, that a number of many non-governmental organizations, individuals, if you would have seen the massive campaigns people like Hopewell Chingono have been doing and others, against how ZEC, is being put on the corner. We even noticed that Priscilla Chigumba had to seek a media public relations platform for him to go to ZTN, for him to go and justify the operations of the organization which he is head to. And this shows that the pressure with the citizens of our country has been mounting against ZEC is yielding results. So we must continue to pile as much pressure as possible against ZEC and make sure that we hold them to account. We must speak out without equivocation and make sure that ZEC is being taken to task and deliver the constitutional mandate given to them.
Thank you so much for that. Ruka, you have got 15 seconds to repeat the second part of your question.
Okay, so the second part of my question was on the number of new registered voters. I was saying because of the compromise on ZEC in the outrageous figures that we got in their last update, what measures have been put in place to tally the number of new voters who have been registered?
Thank you very much. We definitely, as an organization, those people whom we can account for are those people whom we could have, asked to go and get registered on our own invitation. So those ones, we are counting them on a daily basis. But so far, I don't have figures of it. But the Secretary for Elections, Ian McConney, and also Ellen Shiriedenga are combining the total number of registered votes. On this blitz, a clear program has been rolled out throughout our organizing department, and all the branches are activated, and they are writing down and taking stock of the number of people whom we could have, assisted to go and get registered to vote. So on those ones, they are there. We have got our own figures that we are driving, but also there are others who are coming through the efforts of different organizations. We will also try to put into account also what we have as an organization, and also what the civic society organizations and other bodies are doing on the voter registration exercise as well.
Yes, thank you so much. From there, we are going to take the speakers that are already on the platform. Anyone else would like to speak afterwards? We will have to be extending, and because if we are extending, you will then have to pay for the mic, because we also have a fundraising activity. So the ones already on the platform, are the last ones who won't be paying for the mic. After the extension, then you have to pay for the mic. You come, you say your amount. After that, then you can ask your question or say your point. So let's go to Judy, then P. Chanas, then Trisa. Judy, you can go ahead. Judy, if you can't speak, we'll have to remove you. P. Chanas, go ahead. P. Chanas, okay, not there. Trisa, can you go ahead?
What?
Yes, I can hear you, but I can't. The other people can't unmute.
Okay, all right, sure. I'm not getting the question, so I thought maybe I have to ask you whether they're speaking on.
Yes. No, they are not yet speaking. Co-host Washington, can you hear us? Okay, Trisa, you can go ahead.
Okay. Good evening, Chairman, Vice Chairman. I want to ask you a question on the concerning the double candidates. We witnessed during the filing of the nomination court papers. We have double candidates in Bulawayo. We have double candidates in Masvingo. But we were told that in Bulawayo, some candidates withdrew their candidatures, but there is no press conference confirming that in Masvingo and the other parts of Bulawayo, candidates have withdrawn their candidatures. So what's the position of Masvingo?
Yeah, I think I have answered this question already. It has once been asked, and I comprehensively asked about it. I think I answered it when you were not yet on the platform. What I've said is that we are working 24 hours to make sure that we solve that minor glitch. And like what I earlier alluded to the listeners who came earlier to the program, I clearly told them that there was a confusion when one of the candidates had to steal a signed paper and filed the nomination papers. We are solving it, and I also urged our members to understand that when we are joining and getting into the organization of this magnitude, there are people with different motives, some of them only in search of power. And that is their end. They are not looking at the generality of the interests of the people of Zimbabwe. They think that becoming a member of parliament or a councillor is the beginning and the end of their pursuit. They take, the occupation of such positions as some form of employment, which is a total variance with the objective
that the people of Zimbabwe must be issued with identity cards. Also be careful with what ZEC always says. If you could have listened to the interview by Priscilla Chigumba recently, she said that why we only have got around 2,000 registered new voters for the year of 2021 is on the basis that there were people who have been paid money and registered 6-10 times, while they were just individuals who were going to go and register there and there and there. You know, our laws are very clear. That was a pure lie from Priscilla Chigumba that has never been challenged. Why were those people who have been fraudulently registering several times on different polling stations and constituencies not arrested? The intention of these people would be clearly that they want to rig elections by being a multiple voter, and it is a criminal offense in as far as the Electoral Act is concerned. So it was a lie and a dummy sold to Zimbabweans, and you saw the ZANU-PF propagandists and Barakash running with that narrative so that it confuses the people of Zimbabwe. If there are truly people who registered more than 4 or 5 times on different constituencies and different polling stations, why are these people not being said publicly? Can Priscilla Chigumba give us the names of those people who have registered themselves multiple times? Why are these people not arrested and explain their intention why they have registered themselves 6 times in different constituencies and different areas in 1 year? So specifically, ZEC is providing misleading and false information to the public so that they continuously mislead us. So ZEC is no longer an institution to trust. It is up to us citizens to pile more pressure against ZEC until they are accountable for them to do the duty which the Constitution has given them to carry out on behalf of the Zimbabwean public.
Thank you so much, VC there. For our friends from the other side, you can see you requesting mics. Today is not the day when we will tolerate your talk. So honorably cancel your requests because we are not going to attend to you. Today we are talking about the future of the Yellow Revolution and you are on the other side. So we won't be able to take you. Thank you for understanding. Comrade Tim Pariwa, can you go ahead? Okay, Tim Pariwa can't. African Dream, can you go ahead?
Greetings, fellow compatriots. Thank you very much for this good opportunity. Kuno kumangwana ni chaiwo, kuno China. So we say hi everyone from China. So I have a couple of questions I want to ask.
You have an opportunity, African Dream, you have an opportunity to ask one question because in 10 minutes we should be closing. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So I will ask one question. All right. Are there any new innovations that you have made so far in regards to protecting the vote, since we have experience with ZANU-PF stealing our vote? Sorry, this is very small. Can you allow me to just give the second one, Rico? Just the second one, please allow me. Then the other one, second one, just closing on my questions is if Coupe comes back today and wants to have an alliance with you, or if she wants to join our executive team, will you admit here in the New Yellow Movement? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Are there any other new innovative strategies that are in place for the protection of vote? I have already answered that question. I think, unfortunately, African Dream, I think you joined the conversation late. We talked about it and also gave the Zambian example of why it is important for
the citizens, after casting their vote, will be waiting for the counting of their vote until it is finished. And also the advantages of having that strategy as a masterclass. And somebody even asked and said, would that not give the the regime an excuse for them to clamp against the citizens and attack them and injure them while it's waiting for their results? And I said that would be good for us. That is because that is exactly what we would want. It will create an electoral crisis. It will create the international community to know exactly the beast that we are dealing against here in Zimbabwe. So what we will do is that we'll make sure that after, that's why you realize that our organization is organized and centered around the branch supremacy. The branch supremacy in our party is organized and centered around the polling station based branches, where we all know the polling station in our constituencies and in our wards. And this is the leadership that has been elected. We know each other in our locality. We know the number of voters that are going to cast votes at a particular polling station. And these are the people who must wait for the pronouncement of results like what has happened in Zambia. Until the results are pasted outside the polling station, that's when they will be able to leave. If the regime attacks them on the basis that they want, we will create an electoral crisis. An electoral crisis where I know it will not end well. So for that one, that's the issue, African dream. On the issue of Madam Coupe coming back to the part today, whether we'll welcome her or not, my brother, such a question is not for the advancement for the great dream of our people. It is a decision that will be made collectively by the organization. And I don't think at the present moment I'm qualified for me to answer it, because it hasn't yet come or tabled even in our discussion as the leadership of the party. And myself, I don't even have the position on that, because I never anticipated that such a question will come. It would need, if we have got a proper party position vis-a-vis that issue. Secondly, it is not always good for us to focus on individuals. We must focus on the bigger picture. The objective of the organization is for us to replace an evil regime with an alternative rulership in our country. And in that, it is not always wise and intelligent for us to spend hours on such important spaces like this one to discuss individuals, rather than for us to discuss objectives and on how we are going to obtain the results in pursuit of our objectives and vision. So specifically, we cannot spend time discussing individuals. Let's discuss the vision. Let's see how we are going to put our heads together and obtain the common vision. That issue of whether Dr. Thokozani Kupe will be welcomed back to the party or not has not been an issue that has been on our table. It is purely to which myself, I don't even have an opinion over it, because it has never been an issue of discussion in our march towards the future of the Yellow Revolution.
Thank you so much. Manoti Kudakwashe, can you go ahead?
Yeah, I wanted to ask our vice chair that is it possible as a party to run our own parallel result compilation from polling stations up to national level? To have like a software or a system where we live update our own results parallel to the exec, so that we can monitor any ballot stuffing or creation of any ghosting polling stations. Would it be a criminal offense if we have something like that? Though we will not announce the results before ZEC, but we use it as evidence against any reading Schengen. Thank you.
My brother Manote, as an organization, if we are not yet ready to do exactly what we are saying, it means we are not yet ready to govern. We must have a clear tabulation of results throughout the country. We must have the national results beforehand, even before the announcement by ZEC. So specifically, these are some of the very important and fundamental issues that we are working on. That's why initially, when this program started, we talked about the need for us to have as many laptops as possible for us to be able to have the feeds from our different districts and provinces of what is transpiring on the electoral results, polling station by polling station throughout the country. This is one of the most fundamental aspects. We must be able to have the proper results for the elections, even before ZEC has announced them. Although you are very correct, Manot, that they criminalize the announcement of results before ZEC announces, or the proclamation of any electoral outcome before the announcement by ZEC, because that is the panacea and the foundation of their rigging. They don't want election results to be announced by anybody, so that they pronounce their fake results, which if you announce a different result from what they have announced, you get arrested. But the people who must be arrested are ZEC. You have seen in 2018, they announced 3 different electoral results on the presidential elections. When this matter was taken to court, no one knew the exact number of votes which Emerson Mnangagwa was declared president. And up to now, they haven't yet given us the proper figure of how many votes Emerson Mnangagwa obtained in 2018. They use that as a panacea for them to rig and subvert the will of the people. That's why they are stopping political organization or individuals to announce the proper results for each polling station. But like what has been happening in Zambia, you notice that after the counting at the polling station, the results were already published on the different social media platforms. So this is also the other strategy that we should do, that the moment when counting is completed at any polling station, people must simply use their gadgets to announce the results at their particular polling stations, wherever it is throughout the country, so that we will be able to tabulate a party. However, also as the political organization, our polling agents must also be able to give us feeds of the correct electoral outcome at each and every polling station. We will do that, and it is one that will give us the definite number of votes that we could have obtained as a political organization.
Thank you so much. I can see that our Secretary for Elections, Deputy Secretary Honorable Ellen Shiriedenga is here. But before she speaks, maybe let's just ask Charles, since he's the last person. Charles, can you go ahead and speak before we give Honorable Shiriedenga time?
Thank you, hosts, co-hosts, and everybody listening. Honorable Sikhala, we do appreciate all the good work that you are doing in a very hostile circumstance, in a hostile environment. I've got a quick comment and then a short question for you. My comment is on what one of the speakers spoke about, protecting the vote. I was just going to say, one way of protecting the vote, my brother, is to join all the fundraising spaces that we are carrying out, because that money that we are raising is to educate voters to be used for campaigns and to be used for protecting the vote in terms of voting agents and all that. So that is one way of looking at it. My quick question, Honorable Sikhala, would be, we know ZANU-PF rig elections by assisted voters. That is a big rigging machine that they use, especially in the rural areas. What is your comment on that, and how can this be countered? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brother Charles. You have spoken the truth. Even, you know, literate people in rural areas like teachers, nurses, police officers have been, you know, asked to vote. You know, they've been asked to find somebody to assist them to vote. And this has been taking place since 2000, 2002, 2005, 2008 elections up to the last elections. And this has been happening at every turn. It is something that we nearly need to all put our minds together. People are forced to declare themselves illiterate and that they must be assisted to vote. And in being assisted to vote, these people will be threatened that if you are not going to say that you want to vote for ZANU-PF, your life is in danger. And we know the genocide and political turbulence that took place on the countryside, where ZANU-PF used violence to intimidate the electorate and try to force them to vote for ZANU-PF. This is one thing that we all have to put our mind together on how we should deal with it. If you have got also suggestions on how we can deal about it, we will welcome them. I am happy that my deputy secretary for elections, Ellen Shiriedenga, is here. These are the people who assist my department, myself as the chairperson of the elections directorate, to come out with the strategies and means on how to deal specifically with those challenges. It is a very serious challenge. In areas like Mashonaland Central, Berengwa, Mashonaland East, this has been reported everywhere that, you know, people have been asked that they are not able to vote, and also they need to be assisted. And also the other challenge, which we must also put our minds together, is that ZANU-PF is now trying to organize people at a village level, where the village head will ask his people to be, you know, in a single file on the voting day, knowing each and every person in that village. And they will say that we know your number in terms of the, you know, your registered in the voters roll. And if we are going to obtain any opposition vote at this polling station, we know who that person is. It is one issue we need to deal with. I think if we are not going to obtain full package of electoral reforms, where people will not be forced to declare themselves illiterate and unable to vote, we are still having this problem for a long time. We need electoral reforms around that issue and to see how we can deal with that. If you have got suggestions, listeners here present, please DM us, talk to Ian Makoni, Ellen Shiriedenga, and others who are strategists for the elections directorate, to give us also your own suggestions on how we are going to deal with this very serious challenge. It's really happening, and dear Zimbabweans, we need to deal with this together. I thank you.
Thank you so much. I'll hand to Honorable Ellen Shiriedenga.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I think my VC has elaborately explained some of the issues. I'll only deal maybe with 2 or 3 issues that came out. Particularly the aspect of the protection of the vote. I think this is one area where, as a party, with regards to the previous elections, we did not do much, and we paid lip service to a lot of critical areas in that regard, particularly the issue of the deployment of polling agents. We failed to deploy polling agents 100%. And, that is one area where we had massive discrepancies in terms of the vote count. So those were our rigging spots. And this is one area that we are currently working on as a party to make sure that we start our early identification, training, and deployment of our agents. And more so, it's not just about deploying agents, it's about deploying personnel who that knows exactly what they're supposed to be doing. With issues, for instance, in some cases where we'll just have agents who just sit there and, and wait for the process, watch the processes and not exactly knowing what they're supposed to be doing. So that is one area that we've, we had failed in the past elections. So we're paying particular attention to that. And then there was a question also with regards to the results management systems, whether are we going to employ the latest technologies available. Yes, that is one area which is under consideration, the aspect of parallel voter tabulation. We want to make sure that as results, as the count is finished, we are able to transmit the results to our own, within our own system, so that at the end of the day we are able to tally and know exactly where we stand in terms of the results, and also to compare our results with what will be announced by ZEC. And the aspect of course, we want to use technology, and we're working around it. And we have several proposals that are in place, and I'm sure by the time we get to the by-elections, we'll be able to do our test run there. But also, the aspect of parallel voter tabulation is not just for the party alone. I'm sure the VC earlier on alluded to the fact that after the vote count, the votes will be, the results will be displayed by the door of any polling station, and the citizens can actually do their tabulation from there. So it's not just the responsibility of the party, but even the citizens, and more so even some civic organizations can actually take up the task. If you look at Zambia, for instance, we had a group of churches that conducted their own parallel voter tabulation, and as well as the UNDP. Also, so there was also a parallel tabulation by the parties there. So that is one area that needs to be worked on. The political parties can do that, the citizens on their own within their constituencies. For example, each citizen belongs to a ward, belongs to a constituency. So if you can get the results from any polling station, go to a ward collection center, they'll be displayed as well. They'll be able to do their own, tabulation of results. So it's the responsibility of each and every person out there. So those are the key issues that I wanted to talk about. But also, I would like to take this opportunity to actually appreciate, our diaspora structures and other people out there, the effort that they've put in place to actually, fundraise for the elections. It's a difficult task for us here back at home, but you have done that for us. We greatly appreciate, and even locally, we are trying by all means to get resources from individuals and even from our membership as well. It's a mammoth task, but I'm sure with all your assistance, we will certainly get there. And lastly, there's the issue of voter registration, which came out, and I think it's one hot issue currently that we need to grapple with. This aspect of the IDs. We have over 2 million young people that are eligible to register to vote, but they don't have IDs. So that is one issue which we're currently working on to see how best we can actually compel the RG's office and the ZEC to synchronize their activities such that we don't have people that are disfranchised because of that. From our own assessment, there is clear lack of coordination between ZEC and the RG's office. If you could remember, I think it was in November, before the proposed December 2021 blitz, ZEC had indicated that they postponed the blitz so as to make way for the RG's office to actually proceed by issuing IDs to the deserving citizens, but clearly that was not done, and ZEC has gone out of its way to go ahead with the voter registration. And it's not just about the voters for 2023, but it's about the delimitation process. Remember, this blitz is conducted so as to make way for delimitation, and delimitation primarily uses the number of registered voters in any given province, which will actually determine how many seats the constituencies each province will get. So that is one challenge, to say if the issue of IDs is not addressed, at the end of the day, the delimitation outcome will not be as accurate, and it will be biased. And more so, even if you look at, the itinerary of ZEC in terms of, the voter registration centers for the blitz, you would note that about 78% of the proposed registered voter registration centers for this blitz, they are all concentrated in rural wards. So meaning 78% are concentrated in rural wards, and only 22 are in urban. So at the end of the day, you are able to actually project to say, okay, what is the possible outcome for the delimitation? So those are some of the issues that we as the CCC are very much concerned about. And also, you look at other wards, for instance, constituencies. Look at Chirumanzu Zivagwe, for instance. It has been given 35 registration centers. And you look at a place like Epworth, look at a place like, Zishavaningezi, for instance. It has been given 38 centers, and it has currently a registered population of around 35,000. And you go to Epworth, which has a registered population of over 71,000 people, and it has only been given 12, registration centers. So those are some of the concerns, to say what criteria was used by ZEC in terms of distributing the voter registration centers and the BVR kits. So those are some of the concerns. Say we need to sit down with ZEC, and do this voter registration blitz properly, so that each and every constituency or ward, is given a fair share in terms of registering eligible people. I think that's all for now. I'm sure the VC is clearly articulated on most of the issues. I think I'll stop for now. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the passionate delivery, and I'm noticing that we have our leadership here. We welcome you, and we also would like to welcome Opwell is here, and Professor Jonathan Moyo is here. If the two of you would like to weigh in on the subject before we wrap up, we kindly ask you to request a mic, because we see you tweeting about these things almost every time. Maybe the audience here will be different. You can request the mic and say something. Mr. Hopewell and Professor Moyo.
I think while we wait for them to request mics, I just want to extend our gratefulness to our leaders, and also just to remind people that one of the reasons why we will continue to bring our leadership to such platforms is so that you can get to meet them, you can get to hear views of what is happening on the ground from the horse's mouth rather than being told by somebody else. And at the same time, because of the need that we have to resource our party, we've got a link which is right at the top of this space, which I will continue to kindly request that before you go, please kindly find somewhere in your heart to say, well, the Honorable Job Sikhala and Honorable Ellen Shiri have been here explaining about the difficulties and what is happening, the challenges that we have. What can you do as a person who is a Zimbabwean, who is a citizen, to try and also play your part in terms of making sure that we achieve the result that we want in the end? I think this is a challenge that we all have. Not the challenge for Honorable Job Sikhala, Ellen Shili, or President Nelson Chamisa, or Honorable Tendai Biti, but it's the challenge that you and me have. And it's you and me that needs that freedom. But we've got our soldiers, we've got our servants who are working for us, who are prepared to face these animals day and night. And they are here. And they are saying, please capacitate us. We do not hesitate. We want to go and do what is right in order to change this country. A lot of our youth have been robbed of their youth. There is so much, like I said earlier, that has been taken away from us. Now, we are challenged to really say to ourselves, what is it that we want? Do we want to get our Zimbabwe? It's not going to be easier to get it or to fight for it. We have to brace, we have to roll our sleeves and put all the hands on the deck and fight. So our fight is to try and resource CCC, our new yellow baby. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is where the challenge is. I can request that you continue doing it. Those who are not able to do anything today, the tweet will be tweeted on, pinned on our handle. Let's please share that tweet. Let's share that donation link, and let's share. You never know, somebody might decide to do something. But as people that are here, I kindly ask that we make a donation. I kindly ask that we capacitate our party to be able to deliver the result that we need.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for that. And I would like to thank our guests, Honorable Ellen Shiriedenga and Honorable Sikhala. So, Honorable Shiriedenga, if you've got a few last words.
Okay, thank you. I won't say much, but save to thank you all, for taking up this initiative to assist the party, and just to give you confidence that we will try our level best, to do what is supposed to be done to ensure that we secure our victory in 2023. Thank you.
Thank you so much. VC, your parting words.
This is for all of us, dear Zimbabweans. It is all our obligations as citizens who want to reclaim back their country from those people who think that they own the title deeds of this country. There is no one in Zimbabwe who has the title deeds to this country. The owners and the rightful the owners of the title deeds of this country are you, the citizens. This country belongs to you, to those who are born and not yet born. It is all our inheritance. Let's take our party and defend our right to choose the leadership that we want. Let's contribute and donate in our small way to make sure that there is no any struggle that can exist and become successful without the helping hand of those who will and who wish to assist and make sure that the prosecution of the struggle is not stumbled along the way. We plead to you, dear Zimbabweans, to assist us in terms of financial resources, in terms of ideas, strategies, and the ways of how to deal with the beast that has caused our sorrows for many decades in our country. We are so passionate and determined. We will never betray you. We will never retreat. We will never give up the fight. We will make sure that the desires of our people, the desires of the citizens of our people is going to be delivered. I thank you, dear Zimbabweans, from the bottom of my heart, all those who have been able to listen to this program this night. So late we are, but still debating about how best we can rescue our country. I thank all of you, the hosts, the co-hosts, and all others, and the speakers who spoke constructively. You really asked very pertinent questions. I think in the best way, we tried to answer them to your satisfaction. I thank you, and I say, God bless all of you. Amen.
Thank you so much, VC. Whilst you are parting, we can enjoy a song. Then after that, or two songs, then you can be leaving.
Let me thank you, host, as well, for such a fantastic job.
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Washington.
I was just saying, let me thank you, host, as well. Sometimes we forget to thank somebody who is holding the steering. So thank you so much. And again, thanks to everyone who managed to come up. We will continue to bring you spaces where you meet with your leadership. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Chamisa. Ndikafonera Chamisa ndomukumbira kudzokera. Yeah. Ndomuti Chamisa harvester usundipewo chigaro. Square. Ndikanifonera Chamisa. Neniwo ndichinyanya wokuitiso man.
Hello, yellow. Citizens coalition. Silly guy. Onokondian. Asidagi iwe wakutomanya bani. Tonokugesa yere jangwa mujorodani. Anti wafunga kuti. No pera ni madara ako aya mutini plotera. Hello, daddy. Politics, you are a nobody. On the party say in politically, chonga temba na choma jara ko military. Anti wafunga kuti, no pera na majara ako aya mchini plotera. Makali petera dibura, abete mukatora. Anyare mondora matempi makari kola bata isi hora. Kuno kubodi ziniti ana haimborora. No fambane baiberi, wana tangu dori wana kenjeri. Don't mess me, ni pro maximally alkeri. Anti wafunga kuti no pera ne majara ako aya mchini plotera. Hello daddy, politics you are a nobody. How the court is in politically, chonga temba na choma jara ko military. Anti wafunga kuti no pera ne majara ako aya mchini plotera. Daddy, take your party, I got my party. Go to your people via vanamuhadi. Binga ya inutara zinyati, yelo munandi, nikaseri kuimba, wapinde mkomana. Citizen coalition for change.
yana sekuru kumamisha eyama vanambuya nana sekuru kumamisha eyama dzose dzisati dzaziva